Hello folks, Richard Moore, USA GSA. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. It's a hot, sunny Sunday in Mississippi today. This special is going to be about a murder that took place in Lowndes County, Mississippi 3 years ago. December the 3rd, around midnight of December the 3rd, 2021, of Wayne Peaks Jr., L.W. Peaks. Before we get into it, I'd like to encourage everybody, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe to our channel, share, and like. And we welcome your comments down in the comment section. And in the description, as well as the About section of this channel, you'll get all of our links for donations and contacting us and filing your official misconduct reports with corrupt law enforcement, misconduct by attorneys, judges, prosecutors, etc. Which that link is our portal to the National Brady List. I also encourage you to support us by becoming a Patreon. That link is also in the About section of our channel. And you can support us for as little as $5, $10 a month. We also have a GoFundMe and other avenues for your donations. We are 100% supported by our listeners and followers. Without you, what we do is impossible. So let's get on to the point here. On December, this was published in the local newspaper in Columbus, Mississippi, the Commercial Dispatch, and also reported on the local news, WCBI, and some other statewide agencies may have picked this up, I'm not sure. What I am sure of is there was only one report of this murder, and it was reported that Bradley Peaks, 21 years old, was arrested for the murder of L.W. Peaks, which is his father, his dad. Not much has happened since then. There's no other reports. Now, this was investigated by the investigator. I got his name here, Daryl Neighbors, which is now, I think, working security at the courthouse. But he was working for Sheriff Eddie Hawkins. This story and what has happened and what has not happened falls directly on the shoulders of the Sheriff of Lowndes County, Mississippi, Eddie Hawkins, and the District Attorney, Scott Cologne. I've talked some about these guys, but obviously not near enough. And in the ensuing weeks and months, we're going to be talking more and more about these individuals, because the more that comes out and the more people that contact me and the stories that are being told, it's absolutely astonishing that these individuals are still in power and still in office, still carrying on at business as usual. We the people have a say in this, especially the voters in Lowndes County and the surrounding counties that are included in the 16th District Judicial District of Mississippi, where Scott Cologne gets to practice his craft. And this is nothing short of a scam that he's running. He has no problem prosecuting people with made-up evidence, liars on the witness stand, perjury, accepting false testimony and pushing that out as being facts. Has nothing to do with a fair and balanced judicial system, not under Scott Cologne. And I did a video about how he's hired a criminal from the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department. which is astonishing. No news reports. We can't expect the fake news, especially there in Columbus, Mississippi. Commercial Dispatch and WCBI is 100% a joke. They give you what they want to give you. They give you what these individuals tell them to print and to publish. Any investigative journalism, you can forget that. So Bradley is 21 years old. He's living with his dad, LW, and LW's wife, Christy Baswell. I believe it's Baswell. Yeah, Baswell. Peaks. Bradley is shacked up there with his dad in his dad's house with his first cousin, which was 14 years old. Now, that should take many people, give that a little bit of pause there. Now, I understand we're in Mississippi, and there's still parts of Mississippi where this is not frowned upon for whatever reason. But I would think that the folks at Lowndes County are a little more progressed than that, but the jury's still out on that, obviously. So Bradley wasn't getting along with his dad. His dad wasn't jihading with him shacking up with this 14-year-old in his house. Well, Christy had her own deal going on. She was screwing around as well. Both of them had motives, and LW was in the way. So on December the 3rd, 2021, not in a far distance, in a neighborhood back behind where LW lives, Bradley and Christy and the granddaughter loaded up in the car and crashed into LW's car, hit him, shot him twice while he was in the car. Now, this is a big, burly, strong man. He managed to get out of the car, and they put another 5 or 6 rounds into it and finished him off there beside the car. Neighbors heard it. People saw what happened. It was obvious that car had crashed into his. Now, he went home. They all took a bath and showered up, I believe is the way it went, and then they called the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department came out, and for whatever reason, they arrested Bradley. I think it was real clear what had happened, and arrested him and charged him with murder. He stayed in jail about a month and a half, and they let him go. That has since been reduced to manslaughter, which is a farce. It absolutely makes no sense. Both vehicles, by the way, were hauled off the scrapyard in short order. So that evidence is gone. The murder weapon was found. That's gone. That's been reduced to manslaughter, and they keep putting it off. Now, the reason nothing's been done, and it gets worse. Wayne Peaks, his father, 75 years old, has now having to live with burying or the death, because we don't know if they buried him or not, the death of one of his 2 sons. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. No parent should ever have to outlive their own children. Never. The treatment that Wayne Peaks has received from the prosecutor's office has been total dismissal. They've ignored him, won't talk to him. The sheriff's department has threatened him and been breathing down his neck as little as 2 weeks ago, harassing him and his son, and they hadn't let up. Now, this is standard business as usual for the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department. When a victim's family becomes proactive and want to get to the bottom of the death of a loved one, Lowndes County puts out one report. That's the initial report. That never changes. I've said that time and time again, will keep saying it. They're not going to have that change. That's their story. They're sticking to it. Anybody that wants to color outside the lines, God help them, because they'll be on them, and they'll be on them relentlessly until they completely destroy the immediate family and reduce them to nothing. God forbid they stand in the way of Eddie Hawkins and his corrupt core of law enforcement. They're sucking taxpayer dollars there in Lowndes County. And this excuse for a prosecutor that picks and chooses the cases that he wants. They didn't have any problem having a 4-day trial of trumped up, bogus charges, planted evidence, perjured testimony, lies, and more lies to give Rebecca Baumgartner 24 years, mandatory years in the penitentiary. And she had a YouTube channel. It's still there. Her sister runs it, Lowndes County Accountability. And I'm telling you, she was colored outside the lines. They didn't like it, and this is how they take care of it. They've even made their own threats towards me. And from the Metro Task Force, or whatever they call it now, you got Jeff Edmondson, crooked as a dog's leg, trying to get a snitch to cooperate with them to figure out a way they could set me up, yours truly. Not doing anything wrong other than exposing their sorry asses. So, Wayne Peaks, so a month and a half later, they have the funeral for LW. Bradley's still in jail, but he wouldn't be in jail much longer. So at Lowndes County Funeral Home told Wayne Peaks that he had 2 hours to come up with the money for the funeral. They give him 2 hours. This Gestapo. Now the casket was closed. They wouldn't let them look in the casket. They never saw the body of LW. They said they had 2 hours to come up with $10,000. Now, folks, the Peaks and Mr. Peaks, they don't have that kind of money. You see, in Mississippi, especially in North Mississippi, I'm probably speaking for the whole state, this is the epicenter of the dirty South. And if you're from the wrong socioeconomic background, and you don't have a bank account loaded with money or the right last name, that you may as well kiss justice and fairness goodbye, because it does not happen. They railroad these individuals because they don't matter. They're nobodies. They have the right last name. They don't live on the right side of the track. They're nobodies. Hawkins don't care, and Scott Columbus sure as hell don't care. Because you're not on a golf course with them. You don't belong to their club. You're not going to one of their fake backslapping good old boy churches. And so therefore, you're dismissed. Good riddance. And I don't believe that this attitude speaks of the average person in the state of Mississippi. That far too long they've stood by silently and watched time after time these clowns, these criminals, these pathetics get reelected and put back in office. Because the people that are doing it are part of the good old boy club. They get all their information from the fake news, from the Dispatch and WCBI. Both of them are laughable. It's not news. It's simply propaganda. And so they were given 2 hours to come up with $10,000. Still didn't get to look in the casket. They had a funeral. The family has no idea who picked the music or anything else. It was just a sham, the whole deal. All during the funeral, at the chapel and at the graveside, there was a presence of Lowndes County law enforcement. And Peaks are not kin to anybody on the sheriff's department. I'd like to know what the hell they were doing there. In force, showing up, imposing, and being there during the whole deal. That's a mystery. We know why they were there. They were there as a show of force of intimidation. As this is the way it's going to be done, keep your mouth shut and your head down and don't ask no damn questions. If you do, you're going to pay. They didn't let the family stay around to see dirt thrown on the box and the box being put in the ground. They never saw that happen. They were rushed out of there by the sheriff's department. So the jury's still out of was there a body in the box. And why did Lowndes County Funeral Home hold him hostage for $10,000 for this dog and pony show? And they probably didn't put the box in the ground. They probably went back to the funeral home. Because Wayne Peaks did get a copy of the death certificate from the Department of Vital Statistics in Jackson. And the death certificate says that LW was cremated. Okay. So maybe that's why they didn't open the box. Maybe that's why they probably didn't put it in the ground. They took that family for all it was worth. But William got started good. So Wayne Peaks has all kinds of equipment, vehicles, what have you, at his son's place. Now, the former wife of LW and Bradley refused to let the father have what belongs to him. He has the titles, the receipts, and all that. Won't let him have it. It's on their property. He can't have it. And of course, Lowndes County told him to quit talking about it, shut up about it, leave it alone. Nothing we can do. Not going to do anything. So right now, we know that we had Christie and Bradley both have motives to do away with LW. Because they've made it impossible to get the autopsy report, and we've told that one was performed and don't know, but apparently there is, but they won't let the father have it. Can't get it. We believe it's probably two guns used. They both were involved. Both are just as culpable. Christie, and she hasn't been charged, and Bradley, and they reduced it to manslaughter. The only person in this equation that may have a little pull is Bradley has got an attorney, and they're patting each other on the back, and they've made a deal, these backroom deal, and that's it. That's all they're going to do, folks. That's the way it is. Justice, at this point, has not been served. And the way it looks, justice won't be served. You have a sheriff that does not care. A sheriff that could care less about the rule of law, about facts, about the truth. And when something suspicious is brought up that doesn't look right, he didn't care about that either, because they've already told their story, you see. That once they tell their story, this is what happened, and that's it. There's no more story to it. They're not going to think about it anymore. How about that? Unless it's somebody that they have an extra grime with. Then they'll keep talking about it. And they'll keep on and keep on and keep on until they don't have to catch them doing anything. It didn't have to be factual. It didn't have to be any evidence. They hadn't had any problems in the past with evidence. They'll make that up as it comes. They've been doing that. They're going to keep doing that until enough people start holding these clowns accountable. And so you have the prosecutor, Scott Cologne, and his name keeps popping up. He won't even talk to the family. He won't talk to the dad. So you've got a 75-year-old dad that has grieved his heart out, can't sleep at night. His life has forevermore been changed, and he won't get any answers. Scott Cologne hasn't got the constitutional fortitude to pick the phone up or have the decency to talk to him. Why? Because maybe that's not one of his constituents that's bankrolling his aspirations of power. And you see, Scott Cologne was appointed or nominated for a federal judgeship a couple years ago by Joe Biden. That ought to be, that should say enough right there. don't believe that speaks for North Mississippi. If Joe Biden has endorsed somebody or nominated somebody, then that needs to be quickly dismissed, because Joe Biden does not speak for the people of North Mississippi. I'm sorry. Unless I'm just sadly mistaken. Endorsed and backed by none other than enemy of the state, number one, George Soros, is behind and is endorsed and is backing and probably bankrolling all the efforts of Scott Cologne right there in Lowndes County, Mississippi. George Soros does not represent the values of the state of Mississippi, and especially in Lowndes County. Scott Cologne does not represent the values, nor does Eddie Hawkins, yet they keep getting elected, because you have these outside interests of billionaires that want to get behind these pathetic despots that are in office, and podunks are going to the polls and pulling the lever for these people. That it absolutely astonishes me how this can keep happening. That's why I encourage you to make your official reports on the break. We've got some other things going on behind the scenes. So complaints to the Office of Inspector General on Scott Cologne and the Justice Department on Eddie Hawkins. We had him got started good on this. I'm not the only one talking about it. There's people that's had enough. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And right now they may think things are rosy and they just got a couple of loud mouths and they can shut them up and dismiss them. They're going to keep on. I've got a sneaking suspicion it's not going to go down like that. But we're not going to shut up. We're not going to back up. We're not going to let it go. Wayne Peaks is not going to let it go. The way Lowndes County Sheriff's Department and the prosecutor's office has treated this man and the death and murder of his son is unspeakable. There's no excuse whatsoever what you have done and the mistreatment of this family. We've got two murderers walking around free, and Christie's out here helping people prepare their income tax to get refund checks, making up jobs, making up all this stuff, and filing fraudulent tax returns. Of course, Lowndes County could care less about that. She's probably doing half the sheriff's department too. They're all making money, so who cares? But we got two cold-blooded murderers walking the street with one flimsy-ass manslaughter charge that can't seem to make its way into court. They keep putting it off. They don't want to deal with it. They don't keep putting it off until it's a slap on the wrist or nothing happens. They don't have any evidence, is one of the stories I'm hearing. Since when has that mattered? Since when has evidence mattered in Lowndes County? I mean, the audacity to tell anybody that you can't do something, Scott Cologne, with a case because you don't have enough evidence. That hadn't stopped you before. You hadn't had any problem with your machine of manufacturing BS by the truckloads, but yet you can't take a factual situation and make a case out of it. But you take something pulled out of thin air and have a dog and pony show and make it look good and convict somebody that you don't like. And the people that you don't care about, you just dismiss it and keep putting it off because it's not important. What is important for you, Scott? What's important for you, Eddie Hawkins? We know what's important. The power and the money, which you will fight tooth and nail to let go of. You're not going to give it up. 1,000 or 10,000 people will fall by the wayside and die, and you still are not going to give it up. It's going to take the people and their complaints and the Department of Justice to do their job to perform an exorcism there in Lowndes County. And it's going to take nothing short of an exorcism, criminal charges, and to get these pretenders in a federal courtroom and let them spend some time in the federal penitentiary and let them think about all this trumped up evidence and all these people they ignored and all these lies that they've told and the people that they mistreated under the color of the badge and in a position of trust and authority, and you have absolutely betrayed the voters, you've betrayed the citizens, you've betrayed this state and this country and have no business in the positions that you're in. We're going to keep speaking out about it. And we're going to keep monitoring what goes on with this murderer, these two murderers that are walking around free of L.W. Peaks. And why Wayne Peaks can't get his property or anything else. Y'all just sitting on it and refuse to do anything other than tell them to shut up, let it go, leave it alone. And Lowndes County Funeral Home, I don't know what kind of scam you're running. Who you work for. The sheriff's department was there to make sure that y'all did it the way they wanted you to do it. You cremated. It looks as though LW, according to the death certificate. Now, if the death certificate is wrong, then I'd like to know who in the hell lied to the state. Which official in Lowndes County lied to the state to get the cremation? He was cremated. A funeral home claimed there's a body in it. Wouldn't let him see. Didn't let him see him bury the casket. But they got him for $10 grand. And folks, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of damn money on a sham at a funeral home, holding the family hostage. You got 2 hours. If I'd have been in that position and told me that, I know what I'd have told them when they told me I had 2 hours to come up with $10,000. I'd have gave them an ultimatum, but they had 2 hours for something else. But we won't go into that. Give me your comments down below, folks. Share, like, and subscribe. And remember, we need your support. Until next time, God bless you.